Okay, I'm going to call the Tuesday, July 9th meeting of Finance to order. Alder Galvin.
Here.
Alder Corpus Dax. Present. Alder LaFave. Here. Alder Dorf here. Roll call. Entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Alder Corpus Dax, second by Alder LaFave. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of minutes. Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alder Corpus Dax, second by Alder Galvin to approve the minutes. All those in favor?
Aye.
And motion carries. Regular business. Is that the first item?
Yes.
Okay, that's the first item. Okay.
Yes.
For consideration and possible action of refunding taxable 2009 GL corporate purpose bonds, BABs.
All right. I am going to turn this right over to our representative from Baird. I'm going to let
Thank you.
him introduce himself and do what we need to know.
Great, thank you.
We go into the pack.
I
Stuff.
think the same pack, this was also included in your packet.
It is.
Perfect, okay.
Yep, so you just have another colored copy.
But it's kind of nice to have it on hand.
Well, good evening, my name is John Meehan.
Hi,
I
John.
apologize for my voice, but it is what it is.
Blue again?
I wish. What I'd like to walk through is that you have some debt that is callable. And the debt in question, the first page that you turn to, and here the current issue.
Tell me what callable means.
Callable means that at the option of the issuer, the city, you can tell the holders that have it, whoever the owners are, I'm calling it away from you.
Okay.
I'm going to borrow money today, I'm going to pay you off, and now I've got new holders.
Ah.
And so when, in
Okay.
2009, the holders bought those bonds, they understood that in 2019, they could lose it. It could be called away from them. And they price that into their thought process of value, if they want to sell it secondary, whatever.
Okay.
They know that people are getting their bonds called away. But you can only do it like once you hit a call point.
Okay.
In this case, when you refer to BABs, you have to think back in 2009, 2010, there was a Build America bonds.
Okay.
And there was this program that municipalities could issue taxable bonds, and they would get a subsidy from the feds. And it really was only for like a couple of years that the program was in play. You actually have debt in 2009, and you've got debt in 2010. When they're issued taxable, the feds were giving you a percentage, and then the math test became, are you better off to issue taxable, get that credit, or to issue tax exempt and not get the credit? Well, the credit made it work. So people all over issued bonds in 2009 and 10. Well, now in 2019, we hit that call date where we say the bonds that are outstanding, it was originally $8,680,000. That was the size. It was issued in June of 2009. The interest rates on those are from 4.85 to 5.65. So now the math test is, I can continue to leave those out there and get the subsidy. Or today's tax exempt rates, are they much lower that I could say, fine, I made my money on the 2009 bonds, I'm going to now transfer it to tax exempt. So we're switching these from the original taxable component with the subsidy to a tax exempt without the subsidy, because the rates frankly are so much lower.
Because it's 2.5 and it was 4.85 or 5.
Exactly.
5.65. Okay, so that's what we're doing. All right.
And the maturities of 2020 through 29 are the ones that we would replace. We'd call away that from those holders, find new holders, not go out any further than 29. We're still
Right.
within the life of the
Okay.
issue.
Right.
We're just, you have a mortgage that you're basically
Right.
replacing.
Sure.
For a lower rate, which is great.
So when you look at the proposed issue size, it's approximately $6,575,000 to be determined, okay? It's somewhere through there. They are tax exempt because of the overall debt the city issues for their normal capital improvements, for other issues. They would be non-bank qualified, which is just a test if you issue more than 10 million in any year, okay? The maturities are the same maturities. The true interest rate now we're estimating is around 2.5%. So that's where the savings kicks in. It reduces the existing debt service responsibility of the city by anywhere from 35 to 40 a year.
great.
The overall savings after all cost is $345,000. As a percentage, it's over 5%.
Wow.
Traditionally, the target, you want to be around 2% to make it worthwhile to go through everything.
Sure.
Okay. Should be higher than that.
If you don't mind keeping on, turning on I have a graph, because we all love graphs, and this is what's called an MMD index. It's a municipal market data. It comes out, it's close of business every day. It comes out and it says, where are interest rates? And it gives you a flow, and what we tried to show here is that going back to 2009 to today, and these are the tax exempt rates, you can see how rates have bounced around, but where they've been heading.
Which is the purple rates?
The purple is a 10-year life, which is really the issue we're looking at.
Right.
The blue is a 20-year life, and all we really wanted to show in this graph is that if you look over this time period of this, that rates have been lower than they are currently 3% of the time. In other words, rates are at pretty darn low level.
Really low levels.
Now, it can't continue down like that, right? I mean, you can't, that trend line, if you look at all these other years, there's gonna be a turn and a bounce. If I could tell you when that bounce would be, I wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah.
But I wish you well. But I mean, it's a matter of that, it's an opportunity. On the following page, all we've done is we've said, assumed interest rates, comparing on the left side, if you did nothing, that 4.85 to the 5.65, if you take into account the subsidy, by doing nothing, you say, well, just leave it alone, we're not gonna do anything about it, we'll still get that subsidy. You compare that total debt service on the left side, then you say, all right, no, we're gonna take it out. We're gonna call that, all those maturities. That mustard colored area, we've called those bonds, and now we have new ones on the right side. It's a matter of comparing the total debt service after the subsidies to the total new debt service, and the savings is about $40,000 a year.
So the potential gross savings is 417,231.
That's right.
That's what we're looking at.
And once again, getting into the math of saying, that's right, that's the 417, it's a potential gross savings, but since you don't get it all on day one,
Right.
you experience it over the 10 years,
Okay.
you have to present value to say, well, today it's worth $367,000.
I see, that's why there's the difference.
That's why there's a difference.
Okay.
Is that you say, I don't get it all today, but since I experience the savings over 10 years, you have to present value to today, say, well, it's really worth today.
Okay.
So,
Well, sounds like a great plan.
And do you do this for the city all the time, your company?
yeah, mhm.
So when you see things like this and you approach us and you
Yeah.
say, hey, here's a chance to make some money back?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, thank you.
So-
The only comment I was gonna say is, when Dawn Fuller, the previous finance director, was here, she had done quite a few refundings. We just haven't seen any that have really popped up, and this one could have been refinanced just a little bit earlier, but there's a kind of a long process to do a refunding. There's some paperwork, and at one point, John had brought this to me a little earlier, but he brought it back as the numbers have continued to drop. There's just some work to do this. One other point I just want to say is, there's roughly 40,000 per year. Just want to let you know that the original 8.6 million, when we borrowed, 5.9 of it was general levy, 1.9 was TIF, and 850 was sanitary storm. What I'm saying is about 68% of it was general levy. So we will experience about 27,000 annually reduction in debt service on an ongoing annual basis on our general levy.
Okay, great.
So, I just want to make sure that you don't understand, you don't think 40,000 coming off the levy every year.
Oh.
Right.
But because of whatever it is.
Oh,
What it is.
Right,
Because of the
just
funding
because of
source in
that.
which it is, but yes, this could experience about 27,000 as we even go into 2020 budget. We could see it experience take about 27,000 out of the next year's debt service for this refunding, for doing this work.
Do we get into this kind of bonding a lot, where we have that opportunity to look 10 years down the road and say, hey, we can grab this and pull it back? Is that?
Yeah, I would say that almost all of the issues you have outstanding, whatever the timing, you said start
Sure.
20 years, it was by a 10-year call.
Okay,
Now, if you had a 7-year issue for some reason, it's probably not callable.
Right.
But it probably doesn't have that feature. The other thing would be, in the 2017 Tax Reform Act, the Fed said, well, what you could do is you can do refundings, but only on the call date. You can't do it any earlier. So the 2019 is the call date. you know, that's,
So we have to do it.
And
So-
to add to that point, there
Yeah.
was times that we have done some advanced refunding, so maybe what 2018, or 2008, we might have refunded that advanced earlier, when there was a savings.
right. If it would have worked earlier, we would have been able to do it earlier,
But
but
now
now
we
they've
cannot.
changed the rules.
They changed the rules.
The other thing I would add is that, who knows, but there's a 2010 Build America bond. And so there would be a pretty good likelihood you'd see me again before,
Like next?
yeah.
I hope we do.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's gonna hit a call date.
Sure.
Sure,
And the math could be the exact same.
sure.
But I also go back to say, do you see that trend line? It's gonna bounce.
It will
Right.
bounce up.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it may not happen.
Sure.
And the math might be, it doesn't make sense to do it.
Okay.
John, just for a question
Yeah.
for my sake,
Yep.
is it 10 years from the date it was issued, or like beginning of 2020, like January 2nd, we could potentially do a financing on a 2020, on 2010?
What it is, it's the date of your principal is the
Okay.
most common way. So your
So
principal is
April.
April 1.
Yep.
So, but I'll give you a little caveat to it. April 1 of 2020, okay? But it's closing the bond issue 90 days prior to it.
So we could start doing it in February if the rates were still,
Right, and I would say that, I would say that there'd be a possibility, I hate to do this to you, but there'd be a possibility that you could, and I know, but you could get into December,
yes.
and it would still like this, do it, close after the 1st of January, and that becomes,
Get it done.
that becomes within the 90 day.
But by then, we wouldn't have a new set of financials that they would be waiting for, because there's no way we would have the
No,
new
that's absolutely
CAFR
right.
ready available, where this now, they were waiting for a CAFR to
Okay.
see how we ended the 2018, so that was some of the timing, also some of the work that, pre-work that has to be done to do a refinancing or any borrowing, they want to see your most current financials, and when it's springtime, they want to wait for the next year's, where in this case, we probably wouldn't have to wait for another year's worth of
No.
results.
Okay.
Okay, so what are you looking for?
Well, I mean,
Just, oh, there's
just-
more.
if I could,
There's
couple-
more.
just a couple more comments, okay? Because it goes to what you're looking
Okay.
for, is, what we're looking for is to get the authority, what they call parameters resolution. And what a parameters resolution, it says, if you can do the following items, okay? If you can save no less than 3%, okay, remember we're at 5%, okay? You don't extend the debt any farther out. There's parameters that are set up. If we do that, and if the common council on July 16th, your board meeting says, yeah, we adopt the parameters, we're gonna move on this. In other words, we don't wanna wait till August
Right.
20th.
Oh, right.
We wanna say, because there are, if there are people that are doing this, I would rather not let this play
Right.
out any longer. This may all be a nice exercise. I mean, things could turn, and we all
Like
say,
that
all right, we
quick,
tried,
and
we're
we're
not gonna
not
do it,
Well,
okay?
by the time of council, they could switch on us. huh?
It could switch on us, and it could be a
By
case
next
of
week?
saying,
Sure.
no, not that
Okay.
quick, but I mean,
Okay.
by waiting till August 20th, and so I'm suggesting is on the 16th, if you adopt a parameter resolution, no more than a certain size, you have to have a savings of at least 3% to do it. By doing
Okay.
that, we would conduct the sale, and that at the August 20th meeting, would report out the results.
Okay.
Okay, and then will you write that resolution? Or-
Yes,
It's-
I think he's already put on the parameters.
Okay.
Yep.
It's got it right here on this sheet, yeah.
And I appreciate it, it's a lot of information, but that's what's given to bond counsel to incorporate into their
To exceed
resolution.
7 million.
Okay.
And the very last page, I just laid out the timeline, that I see this happening the first week of August.
Okay.
And the only reason we're able to get it done that quickly is frankly because you have done a lot of steps in preparing information for the water refunding that's taking place. So there's already, in other words, there's data gathered, there's already material gathered that we're able to take that and use it for as part of that. That wasn't dual tracks, in other words, that's already being prepared.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's what the parameter resolution, I'll be here next Tuesday night, but what we're suggesting, let's do a parameter resolution, let's tee it up.
Okay. So what would you like from us tonight?
We would, for consideration with possible action on the refunding of this 2009 GO corporate purpose bond, would be to move forward with this refunding, and then probably have staff work on a resolution.
Would you like to make that motion?
I'll make that
That
motion.
motion was made by Alder Galvin. Would you like to second it, or Alder Corpus Dac seconded that motion?
Okay, I would like to add one more comment. It's really not on our agenda, but I would probably do it in the director's report. John Meehan also mentioned something very similar to about KI convention expansion. You mentioned it at the RDA meeting this morning.
Right.
It's not on our agenda, so we can't really talk about it, but
Okay.
very, very similar. The same presentation was given for a KI convention expansion, so we're going to start that process where there's also some large potential savings on that debt.
Okay.
I was on there.
With that in mind, you're talking about, you don't know when that balance is coming. Can we potentially present that to council, this coming council meeting, to get the ball rolling? Because otherwise, we gotta wait till our next meeting, which is in August. And
No,
then-
I thought you said we were gonna present it at the next.
Well,
No,
we-
she's talking about the KI Convention Center. We have the same possibility with some bonding related to that.
Yeah,
Which, if we follow our regular process, we'd have to wait till our August meeting to address it,
oh, us.
and then our August council meeting to.
Oh, us. Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm just wondering, is it allowable to skip going to finance and,
Going to committee.
like a
And go
committee of the whole?
Committee of the whole.
Yeah.
I mean, would that
At
be
council?
better?
I'm just,
I can ask.
let's face it, we can't guess when this is gonna happen.
Right.
We're in a good position right now, we got a hell of a savings going in this. I don't know how much of a bond we're talking about with the KI, but if it's similar to this.
Larger.
Larger.
Way larger.
Then it's a larger savings, and let's face it, we need to scrape every nickel together
Yeah,
that we can at this
yeah,
point in our
savings
lives.
where we can get it.
Right, that one unfortunately doesn't affect the general levy because it's paid by room tax,
Uh,
but there's
understood.
liability by by the
Right.
city.
Yes.
So I apologize that this is kind of
No,
off
no.
topic and it's really not in the agenda, but I wanted to mention
If-
why
if-
John was still here.
So could I do that for a committee of the whole? And then I guess if you're gonna be at the council meeting, you get two kicks at the cat there, and get it all done.
And that one would be, I'm sorry.
Please go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, that one, we would also move on it.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
and I will say that part of the working group team that would work on that one just finished the expo
Okay.
financing.
Okay.
So in other words, we're already,
You're-
Okay, so you're geared in.
we're already geared up. I mean, we've already
Okay.
done.
All right, so this
Yeah.
one's
So
the,
do we have to check if that's with legal, if we can do it?
Yeah, I'm apologize, I'm gonna have to check to see if we
Check.
can do that or get it to add it as a committee of the whole. And then,
okay.
would we also have, would I just be getting the same parameter resolution then?
No,
Nope.
no, I think what we would ask for at that stage is probably an initial resolution.
Initial
to proceed.
resolution. Where does the RDA come in play in this one? It was mentioned at RDA, but they didn't take any action on it because it doesn't have to go back to them.
Right, no, we'll have to go back to RDA. Let's talk about this. My thought would be that in the common council, because they're in the lease, would actually, adopt a resolution saying, okay, we understand there's an opportunity to look at savings, start working on it, get it going.
Right.
Right, that's.
The idea is so that there's, like, when we come back to whatever that day is, and probably the September board meeting, and say, here we are.
Right.
There's not everybody saying, well, what happened here?
Well, and that's what I'm hoping to avoid, because there's been, I'm listening to the news, there's been some talk about interest rates and everything else, and like you said, that bounce is coming sometime.
Right.
I'd rather us get ahead of it than be behind it.
I will have to do some checking on that, but.
Okay, because RDA will be the 13th, that's the date of our next meeting, right? in August?
Correct, it would be the same
Same
day, the
day
next
as
time RDA would have a meeting would also be
Something
July
that
13th,
happens when-
August
Or August
13th.
13th.
Or high.
Because we had it this afternoon.
So, well, if council gets it, then,
Right, then RDA, because it has to come back to RDA, yes.
Right.
Okay,
all right.
Right.
Work to be done.
Thank you
John.
very much.
Thank you.
thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you.
All right, so do we vote? Yeah, I
Yes,
think
we
we
voted.
voted,
Yes,
we
we
voted,
did.
and then she went, okay.
Yep.
Sure.
All right, regular business item 2. For consideration and possible action on the communication by Alder Johnson for further discussion on the direction on the mandated purchase of Brown County of express vote for $120,000 as outlined in the draft 2019 bond request. Staff?
Sorry?
Alder Johnson? Sorry.
Sorry.
I forgot
All
you
right.
put that in. Did you want to
Well, it's a
receive and
good
place on
thing
file?
I don't have to keep my spreadsheet yet, huh?
That's why our clerk is.
Correct. Obviously,
Not
we had a
gonna-
communication, and that is why, what happened is, at our last Finance Committee meeting, we were discussing the 2019 borrowing. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And one of the items that we added between one meeting to the next was $120,000 for express vote through the Brown County. And we had given some explanation why, and Alder Johnson was asking to get a little more clarification on why this was a last minute ad. And so that is the main reason why we put it on here. And so I was hoping that we could get some more information. Our clerk is also ready. We also have some backup, try to put a memo together to kind of give you a timeline on what happened here. I don't know if you have any questions related to the memo timeline.
I can maybe speak to
Go
it a
ahead,
little bit.
please.
Yeah.
So I just talked with Diana a little bit when that came up during the bonding discussion. And it's my understanding, please correct me if I'm wrong, that that was that added cost that we were looking to bond so that we could purchase this new voting equipment, which was mandated by the county, but isn't necessarily equipment that was needed or required. So the option that we were given is, you could either buy the equipment or you can hire a third-party service to do this work instead of us. And so I just wanted more information about that, because the one thing I just want to be sure of is that we're not, needlessly spending an extra $100,000+ to purchase equipment that isn't necessary. So I just wanted more information on it.
No, I agree, because when you look at, we just bought the voting machines 6 years ago, and now, because of what the county's doing, they're useless to us.
Chris, can you come up
Chris?
to the chair,
Sure.
please, and state who you are? Thank you.
Chris Teskey, City Clerk. So what we're talking about is not the tabulator. The tabulator is called the DS200. The AutoMark is what they're looking to replace. The AutoMark is what we, and everyone says, is an expensive pen. What it does is it helps, anyone can vote on it, but it's for hearing impaired, visual impaired. So in the city of Green Bay, we have a handful of people that have used them.
Sure.
And the AutoMarks were like $6,000 a piece. And that was done through the state. So the city didn't pay for those at the time. It was, I think, a grant. So now they're 10 years old. A year ago, the county brought this forward. And I said, is it necessary? Because we hardly use them. Because we've consolidated wards to one polling location, we have extra, so we have pieces to use, so the pieces that would cost us more money when they went down, or just bring one of those in. She said, yep, that's okay, you don't have to buy the express votes right now. So I called the company, ES&S, and they said, yep, we're still supporting them. We don't see an end to that. So I thought, well, we don't need them then, This year then, I think because she thought we have a new mayor, that the money would just appear. And I told her, it's not that we don't want them. The money's just not there.
Right.
So she called a meeting with the mayor, and it was Diana and I and Sandy Juneau, who is the county clerk, and some of her deputies, and with the mayor, and we talked about this, and we thought she was asking us if we could go forward, and I asked the county, can you give us money for this? Can you help us, with this cost? Because it's benefiting them more than it is us. It helps them with some of the end of the night things and things like that. So, nope. You talk to ES&S, see if you can get a 10-year, loan or something through them. So we did all that. And then just out of the blue, an email came that said, you either buy these or you do your own programming on the old AutoMarks, which we had to go with probably ES&S, which is the company that makes the express votes or supports the AutoMarks. So doing that analysis, they, and that information is in the packet, it about breaks even. Because if we stay with the AutoMark, which looks cheaper, but if you read my description, they charge $180 per USB or per flash card. Flash card's used in the AutoMark, USB is used in the DS200. So with that being charged for certain elections, if we have something on the ballot, then we get charged a certain portion for programming. If in the fall we have nothing on, then we don't get charged that. So it's not like I could just figure that out saying per election. It just depends on, are we going to have a referendum, say in November, then we pay some of that fee. So it comes out pretty even, but we were kind of talking, hoping it would have been a couple more years down the line. But because she's saying now that they have to program, they'd be programming two different things, she wants to go with one. And there were other municipalities that agreed that there was 4 or 5, from what I heard, that they weren't gonna buy them either, because we weren't.
But now we
we're pretty
are.
much,
We kind of
Forced
have forced to.
yeah.
Does that answer your questions then?
Well, I think it provides a little bit of clarity. It doesn't mean it sits well.
No,
And,
right.
and I think, I mean, I don't think the way of the land should be to just roll over. I mean, it sounds like this is something that's saving them. I mean, how much money is this saving the county? Time?
What this is going to do, looking at her memo, is giving them more software options, easier to, I don't know if you noticed, after an election, we're always the last to get
We
on.
are always the last. Why is this?
It's not that our information isn't over there, our information's over there, but it takes them with the DS200 and the Automark to combine, I'm sorry, the DS200 from the polling locations and our central count to combine. That's what's taking so long.
So it wouldn't take so long if we did this? Allegedly.
Yes.
Allegedly.
Exactly.
She's not gonna hold her breath.
No,
Right.
okay.
Right. That's what they're saying, that there might be a little more efficiency in that. A little more.
But that's the question, is that worth
Is it worth-
$120,000?
Well, we're gonna have to pay
And
some
it's-
money anyway, right? I mean, yeah. Did you get that? We're
Well, I
gonna have
got
to pay.
that, but that's my point. It's like we're being given an ultimatum.
Yes.
It's an
Where's the
unfunded
spirit of
mandate,
cooperation?
basically.
Mhm.
They changed the rules on us and they're selling us and you gotta pay for it too.
Yeah. I mean,
Whereas,
that's-
So
whereas
what's
if
our-
they had
what's
left
our
everything the
recourse?
same.
What else can we do? We have to have voting, that would cost us a lot more to do it ourselves, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
in my mind, it'll take more staff time also.
Right.
It just sits not well.
But this isn't the way to cooperate, right? I mean,
We,
The only other thing I will say, the only benefit I see to us is if toward the end of the day, on election day, if we see where we're getting low on ballots, we've already called them and said, okay, we need to order this many more, and they said, too late. This express vote, we will have blank sheets of paper that we can print the ballot off then at the polling location.
okay.
So that is one of the benefits, because
Do we ever
sometimes
run out of ballots?
we never
No.
never have, okay?
Okay. Right.
So, so there always is that possibility. That's why we always have to
Okay.
guess,
Yeah.
and we have them call in with counts saying, okay, what do you have left, and we know how many we sent out, and things like
Right.
that. So that would be one benefit to us,
Okay, you could print an additional ballot if you needed.
that they could go to that express vote and vote right on there. The paper will come out and put it in the DS200. It's going to look different. It's going to be this little piece of paper, so we get this free little form to go on our DS200 to go in versus the big ballot.
Big ballot.
So, yeah.
so is that the only advantage that you see for the city from this upgrade?
Being that there's only a handful of people that use them, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and the county's been unrelenting on their mandate to purchase the equipment for us as well as 4 or 5 other municipalities or villages?
Yep, they sent out a memo to all clerks in
With the
Rural County.
response due by June 30th.
Yep.
Is that in here? I just don't see it.
Memo, yes.
Yep.
I have the memo express
It is.
vote machine. Is that one?
It's right after the memo
That was
that
the
was
very last
from me.
one,
It says-
6:30
yeah.
decision made by county, which was the city.
Now, she does say on here, or made a comment, I think, in the meeting, that it would register write-ins, that we wouldn't have to go through. Not so sure. She's already told me that things would be faster. And when I checked with the company at a conference, they said, no, it's not going to be faster. So I'm just real,
Hesitant.
But okay, so what is our other option?
there isn't.
There isn't. It sounds like they've changed the parameters that they need these machines, they're using this technology, and we have to buy them. I mean, we can't not let people vote.
No,
Right.
but, I mean, there comes a
the way
point
they
where,
usually go
I mean, it'd be like the same thing if they, if the county dispatch decided to change the transmission frequency, and we had to buy all new hand units for the PD and everybody.
Okay.
And then you're stuck, you know, I mean, I can understand what Brian's saying. It's kind of like, we're the county and you're not, and yet, so what if this hurts you? This is what we want you to do, and we're stuck doing it.
And we
So
have
we
to
could
be
write a strongly
ADA
worded
compliant.
letter.
Yes, exactly.
Perhaps do that.
At some point, these pieces of
Might have
equipment would have been, needed to be replaced, because they're 6 or 7
True.
years old. So whether
They
it
have to
happens
be
now or
replaced.
maybe 3 years from now, but that's part of the reason why
Had we-
it showed up between one request for the 2019 bonding to the next one. It was kind of an last minute ad, what do we do?
It was a last minute,
Because
right.
I had checked a year earlier, and it was okay that we didn't.
Right.
Had
As
we
you
known in
explained
3
that.
years we would have to replace them all, then we would have had 3
could
years either
plan.
to take a little bit each year instead of savings aside, or bond a little bit each year.
We didn't.
Just make it a little less painful than this, do it now and not giving us any time to really do much about it.
Especially during a time when our bond requests are already tight,
Right.
our whole budget's tight. Having more than a couple months' notice sure would have been nice in the spirit of cooperation.
Even
So-
last year, she
Right.
would have told me.
So again, to me, it's just that better understanding of like,
About this.
if we're dependent on services like this and we don't
Probably
have a
didn't even come to
choice,
the county board.
we're trying to create a 5-year capital plan to control these types of
It
things.
shoots a hole in it.
Like, it would just be nice to have better dialogue, I
Right.
think.
Maybe it
between
will
the county
open
and
now
city.
with
Is this,
Eric.
is this an elected position that this is coming from, or is this an
I was just gonna
appointed?
say
Yeah,
that,
she's
yes,
elected.
it's elected, and that's why it's, I
So-
was told by someone on the county board that it's kind of the same as what the treasurer is doing with
Yeah.
taxes. They're elected so they can do
Right,
whatever.
they're not answerable
Really?
to
So
the
you
county
don't have to
executive,
answer-
Happy, but
answer to
we
the county
couldn't do
board.
anything.
just like the sheriff.
Yeah, couldn't do anything about it, yeah, with the treasurer. No,
Oh, so
we weren't happy, but.
the only person we could protest to is Sandy Juno,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she's already,
This is already
Okay.
her decision.
it's already her decision.
Yeah,
I mean, how long times are we on top of this?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, no, it wasn't very nice, you're right.
Correct, it was for consideration and possible action on this communication, again, unless, to be honest, we actually gave we had no choice, the decision was move forward and get the equipment at the lowered rate when they could buy as a group volume.
Right.
We're
and-
helping other
Right,
municipalities.
we're helping,
actually.
yeah, because volume buy that we can also, we
Okay.
did move forward by the June 30th deadline to say, go ahead and buy the equipment.
Okay.
Because it was that, or we had to program, so, again, why program 6, 7-year-old, machines, which
Are gonna
we also have to
burn
figure out how all that extra work to work with the
Right.
ESS&S and try to figure out the programming, or do we move forward and let the county then, we all go together with the county. So the decision was on by June 30th, we said to move forward and
Okay.
purchase the equipment for city.
So what would you like us, this is just the action on the communication by Alder
I would
Johnson.
I
actually
think
ask
a
that
receive and
when-
place on file is
Okay.
fine, I just wanted more
Okay,
information.
now we
I wanted
have
to
the
understand.
information. Okay,
Again, I still don't have to like it, but I think, like,
that's a good
look, I
explanation.
mean, I think it's worthwhile to have a public dialogue about this.
I
That if
agree.
we're being
These are-
prematurely forced to spend
Right.
$120,000, I feel like all elected officials should be accountable for that decision.
Exactly right, so that information needs to be out there for the
Okay.
public. I mean, should someone want to run against her in the future, this is certainly something now that it's public information that they can use. So-
Okay.
I wasn't going that
So,
far, but-
I would entertain a motion to.
But it's transparency.
To receive
Yes.
and,
I'll make a motion to receive.
Alder LaFave made a motion to receive and place on file. Second by Alder Corpus Dax. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, number 3, to approve the utilization of the remaining $1 million of state trust fund for the Neighborhood Enhancement Program as directed by the Common Council at the 6/19/18.
So to give you a little bit of background, back
2018, we did that?
2018, you approved $1.5 million for neighborhood
I remember.
enhancement.
Yes.
And during that discussion, it was discussed that we would draw down $500,000 in 3
Yes.
increments. So
Right.
we drew down 500 in fall of 18, and we assumed that either later in 18 or early in 19, we'd draw another 500 down, and then probably later in 18 or 19 or 20, as they're using the funds that we would draw down the remaining. somewhere along the line, miscommunication, not understanding, our state trust fund loan, you have to draw down all the money that you've requested within 4 months.
Oh.
So December came around, got a notification saying, are you ready to draw your remaining $1 million down? That was approved by council, and it was December 27th or something, very near the end of the year. One, I didn't want to have an additional $1 million outstanding on our outstanding debt at the very end of the year. So at that point, worked with economic development, worked with Ken, and just said, let's bring it back in 19, which means I had to reapply for this extra $1 million. So now all the paperwork's in front of us to now pull down the $1 million that the council has already approved,
Okay.
and we were just gonna pull it down in increments. Ken is here, what is, real estate specialist.
Okay.
And so he works with the program. If you have any questions on what the $1 million would be used for, that was all explained at that meeting
It was
in
all
June.
explained, yes.
So I don't know what additional questions you have. This is really to complete the process of pulling down part of that 1.5 million that was
It was
approved in
already
June.
approved. Okay. So really, you just need a motion to approve this?
Correct,
unless
and then,
someone has
right,
some
there's a copy of a
questions.
resolution, then that will go to the council meeting, so for us to take the next step. It'll actually come back to the council one more time, whenever you have a state trust fund loan. We have to get there's two different resolutions, that the initial
Okay.
resolution, and then there's a final resolution to draw the money down, so this is your first step to bring that $1 million in.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions?
I don't.
No? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion approved?
Second.
Second motion to approve by Alder Galvin, second by Alder LaFave. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Happy birthday, too.
Thanks.
Happy birthday.
Oh, and I made you say Lynn and your birthday?
Yesterday.
Oh, okay,
But
well,
it's
then
a
it's
good
okay. Then
birthday
it's
gift
okay.
to approve that.
All right.
so.
Thank you,
Don't
Ken.
spend it all in one place.
Yeah.
I think you already spent some of it.
Item 4, notification of state-issued certificate by Northeast Communication of Wisconsin Incorporated, NSIDE, of expansion in the City of Green Bay service area for cable and video providers per state statute 66.0420.
Okay, so, within the city limits, we have an ordinance that is called either franchise fees or we call it cable TV. What that allows, the state allows us for us to collect up to 5% of revenue and currently the two providers that have cables running under our right away in our infrastructure.
Okay.
And it's AT&T and Time Warner, which
Okay.
now is really Spectrum.
Spectrum, yeah.
But either way, we that is in our annual budget. We do collect up to anywhere between $900 and $1 million from, it's called cable TV in our general revenues.
Cool.
Okay.
So what happens is we have now a new provider, Ensite, that would also like to
Oh.
start going to some residential business, multifamily housing. And so they are also basically asking for permission to now, what it does is it gives them the right to now charge that fee onto their bill. So, because if you look at, if you're a Time Warner, Spectrum, AT&T user,
yeah.
you will see a franchise fee in there.
Oh,
You're,
yes.
they're gonna charge you, they get permission from us to charge you, and then they turn around and give that
Give you the
money
money.
back to us.
Okay.
That's what our
Why would you do
ordinance
that
still.
to us?
What?
Why would you do that to us?
It started in 1980.
When cable first opened up?
Yeah, it was many, many years ago, maybe 96. I can't remember when the original was. We dug through some old paperwork.
But
Um,
good.
So,
So this will be additional revenue.
this is, right, correct, and I'm not sure how large it is, how many residents, so they're just looking to expand. If you see, they already have, they basically are already in many of these other municipalities at the very last page of your packet, and they're looking to expand into Green Bay and the village of Ashwaubenon, and now they're starting to go to some properties. And so potentially we could have start having some money coming in unbudgeted.
Sure.
But something with Time Warner, and if you're in AT&T, one year we have had almost $1 million, and by the next year dropped down to 920 as people then went to DirecTV, or they've gone to Hulu, or they're going to
Okay, Netflix.
Netflix, and they stopped using cable TV.
Okay.
Our 5% is going
Yeah.
down.
And streaming services.
Yes, yes. And then, so it just balances, or we also saw a big swing one, for a year or two from Time Warner to AT&T, because that would be with a new provider coming on, and then, people every 2 years tend to switch from one cable provider to another. So we saw some highs and lows between the two providers. One small comment, if you've watched what Governor Evers has signed into, on the latest state budget, thank you, they have put in a change that they are going to reduce in the 2020 budget, the 5% down to 4%.
Oh. so
But
we'll
they're
get
going to
that.
offset it with a state aid.
But,
I'm not sure they're saying it, I'm not sure if they
I
said
don't
it
know
will make
that-
us whole, but it's,
Okay,
so it is something that we currently are making, I'm getting about $900 to $1 million on the 5% franchise fee. By 2020 budget, it's going down to 4%, so one would say, we're only gonna be able to budget maybe 800 for that.
okay.
But there's supposed to be a state aid offsetting it. What, I can't remember if it was the Joint Finance Committee or somebody wanted to sunset it after 10 years, but that got removed. So right now, it's in the budget to be reduced to 4%, but with no sunset. So the 4% stays, but the state aid was supposed to sunset after
Sunset,
10 years, and
okay.
they took that out. So right now, I'm not sure if it's going to make us whole or not, but that is a change, one of the, I would say, negative changes that I saw in the state budget. We didn't have a lot of positives. There were a lot of positives going into the budget. Was what was approved. We didn't get a lot of the positives in the state budget, and this is one of the negatives.
Okay.
But if they do offset it with state aid to make it whole, and then I guess it's not a big deal, but we have to wait and see.
to me, it makes no sense that they're going to go down to 4%, then take taxpayer dollars to make us
To make
whole.
us whole.
When
it's a luxury you have.
It should come out of the
I'd be interested in
companies,
hearing why
Or, well,
that's
But
what they
I wouldn't be interested today.
No, so I apologize. That was.
No.
Sorry.
So basically, we are asking for, yes, and it's really, they are getting, it's just a notification that they
notifying
would
us.
work with the state. It
Okay.
used to be you had to get it, permission from your municipality, now the state grants it. They
Okay.
apply to the state, so it's really probably received
I
and
mean,
placed on
it's-
file, but I
yeah.
wanted to put it on file that we have a third provider in the city that is going to be
Okay.
collecting franchise fees.
Who'd like to move to receive
The,
and place
I
on
was
file?
gonna say
Oh,
that
okay.
the elected officials can say, oh, look what we did for your cable bill, we brought it down for you, that's
Oh.
why they did it.
Right. All
They
right,
can't
who would like to
keep
make a
it.
motion to receive and place on
We
file?
do.
Motion receive and place on file.
By Alder Galvin,
I'll second it.
second by Alder Purpose Dax. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Informational, the next Finance Committee meeting will be held Tuesday, August 13th, 2019 at 4:30 PM. And number 2, the contingency account, it's not a real number, but it says 96,000.
Because at this point, we still have no hard numbers to reduce. We have not seen any actual bills from any attorneys.
Okay.
Well, also, we haven't, wasn't this also
flood.
covering the flood? How come we
50,000
have
for the
no-
flood.
That has never, I guess at this point, it was never brought forward or directed from the director to bring it through because he wasn't sure if there was enough money to cover his flood expenses.
Oh, maybe there was. We'll just see. Okay,
Can I ask, I
Yes.
do not have a director's report here, but I just want to add 2 quick comments.
sure.
Our CAFR, our 2018 CAFR was completed as of June 30th. It is now online, and we also have hard copies in the finance office, so I can probably send some information out if anybody wants a copy of that annual book. And we're hoping at the next finance meeting that we will bring our year-end audit review and our auditors in to talk about how the year-end audit went,
Okay.
which is good.
Okay, good. Okay, now should we adjourn? Okay,
Yes.
who'd like to?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Alder Galvin,
Second.
second by Alder LaFave. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned.